Isaac takes a page from his dad's sister-lie playbook and Abimelech facepalm. Philistines trash his wells. He renames them 3 times until one finally sticks. Abimelech comes back wanting to make amends. I'm a bionic leg, and this is the gravel god. So there was a apparently barley famine. It was just as bad as the one when Abraham was. So Isaac ends up going to see Abimelech, king of the Philistines, in Gerar. Rar, Rar. However you say that name. Now, before I get too far into the story, I want to point out something. It's most likely this is not the same Abimelech that's mentioned in Genesis chapter 20, because it's a good 80 years before or after when his dad was alive. The first time I read chapter 26, that was one of the first things that I noticed. Okay, Abimelech 20, Abimelech 20. What's going on? I had to do some digging, and that's what I was able to come up with, what I was able to figure out. Abimelech was most likely a common name for the area, so just remember that. Different guys, different time periods. Anyways, so back to the story. So God shows up and he talks to Isaac. He tells him, he's like, hey, don't go down to Egypt. Stay where I tell you. Stay here in this land, and I'll be with you and bless you, giving you and your children all these lands, fulfilling the oath that I swore to Abraham. Continues on, I will make your descendants as many as the stars in the sky and give them all these lands. All the nations of the earth will get a blessing for themselves through your descendants. Why? Because Abraham obeyed my summons, kept my charge, my commands. This is easily the third time God has said the thing. I'm going to multiply your. He said it twice before to Abraham. Then he says it again to Isaac. Safe to say, God's wanting people to know He's word. A lot of times you'll see in Scripture, God will repeat what He said. It's not like the people are hard of hearing, just sometimes like, hey, I'm going to reiterate this. He's driving a. So as it gets up, goes to rear, and when he gets there, he sets up shop. While he's living there, the men in the area, they're asking about his wife. Rebecca's gorgeous. And that old try and true is sister. Because he's afraid to say she's my wife because he's thinking in his head, these men might kill me to get Rebecca. Pattern repeating itself. It's if you've seen my previous videos on Abraham, the sister lie reloaded. It's apparently the sister lie gets a trilogy. This is the third installment. But so they've been there for a while. It's quite a few years, it sounds like. And one day, Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looks out his window and he sees Isaac being handsy with his wife. He's flirting with Rebecca, his wife. And the interaction. So, considering how long Isaac had been there, been in town, Abimelech has already learned who Isaac is. They've probably had interaction. So he knows who this is. The interaction is absolutely hilarious. Abimelech calls for Isaac and he asks it, says, so, she's your wife, huh? Why did you tell her? And then the back and forth is great. Isaac. Here you go. Isaac. Because I thought you would kill her and take my wife. Abimelech. Oh, sorry. I got to move to the script. Abimelech. But think of what might have done had one of my guys slept with her. It's hilarious going back and forth. And then he's like, given a little more time, one of the men might have slept with your wife and you would have been responsible for bringing guilt down us. Then Abimelech takes it a step further, and I appreciate this. Really neat. He gives, and this is from some quoting here. Then Abimelech gave his orders to his people. Anyone who so much as lays a hand on this man or his wife dies. That's a smooth Abimelech because he's taken a step back and he's obviously, but he puts his personal protection on. It's just the respect is really neat. And then we're gonna come back to Abimelech a little bit. So Isaac, he had been living there. Already said this, been there for a while, to the extent that he was able to set up a homestead. Like he's planted crops. God is blessing the harvest. He's got sheep. God is blessing them. God is doing incredible things. He's doing quite well for him. To the extent that the locals, the Philistines, they start to envy that. They start to envy Isaac's his success. Tried and true. As humans, as far back as we go, envy. Going all the way back to Cain and Abel, envy. But it's you see this pattern. They get so envious, the Philistines, the locals, they get so envious of Isaac, they start throwing dirt and trash in the wells that his dad dug up, that his dad laid. Hey, when he was and finally it comes to a head, and Abimelech tells Isaac, sorry, my guy, you're gonna have to your empire, you have established an empire, but it's gotten too, which sucks. But cool, got it. Tracks. So Isaac packs everything up. He moves everybody out, and he ends up camping in the valley. So where they're at, Greer ends up camping in the valley. Greer. So Isaac digs up same well that his dad did, but then when dad was alive, beat Philistine dad, so they clogged him up. Isaac redigs them up, renaming them what his dad names his dad gave. And so one day, the Isaac's people, his servants, they're working, they're digging into the wells, trying to, and they hit a underground spring. Well, then the shepherds of Greer, I was gonna say Guar, like the band, but it's spelled Gerar. Anyways, I'm gonna call it Guar. So shepherds of Guar quarrel with people, claiming, well, that's ours. The water's ours. So Isaac named that well Essek quarrel, because they're quarreling. They're arguing over it. Then he digs another well, and there's a difference on that well. So then he names it Sitnah, okay, which means accusation. So then he goes on from there and digs third well. By this point, there's no fighting over this one. So then he names it Rehoboth, which means wide open space. He says, now God has given us plenty of space to spread out. So from there, he goes up to Sheba. That night, God shows back up. God tells him, I'm the God of Abraham, your father. Do not fear a thing, because I'm with you. Bless you and make your children flourish. Abraham, servant. So it's that generational blessing. Isaac, just like Abraham did, just like Noah does, he builds an praise, calling on God by name, which is so dope because you see this pattern when God does something. What are the people then? What did they do? They built an giving and telling God, "Thank you." So cool. He pinches his tent, and his servant, his words, they're hard. Servants start digging their well. So now we get Abimelech. We're coming back to Abimelech. He makes a surprise visit, shows up on Isaac's doorstep. So this time he's got his general, or excuse me, his advisor, uh, Azueth, I think is how you say the name. So he's got his advisor, and he's got his general. General's name, Phicol. Same name as previous as Abraham when he dealt with them, like different guy. His advisor and his general. That's what you got to know. So Isaac is obviously confused by this, and he asks him, he says, "Why did you come to me? I thought you hate me. You out of your country." And Abimelech, he realized God's on your side. Which is cool again, because here's a situation that possibly a polytheist and recognizing God as, which is huge. And then the fact that he's identifying the fact that the creator of all things is blessing Isaac, which says a lot. So then he takes it a step further. He says, "Hey, we would like to make a deal between us, covenant that we maintain friendly relations." So here's the second time. Well, the first time, Abraham wants to make a covenant with Abimelech. Now you have it flipped. Abimelech is wanting to make amends with Isaac. Wants to make the covenant. And then he says, "We haven't bothered you in the past, treated you kindly, let you leave us in. So God's blessing be with you." Really, really neat. And yet Isaac's head had to have been spinning on it. Because he moves to Gerar from Canaan, where they were living because of a famine. He establishes himself. The locals get petty. Abimelech asks him to leave. Now Abimelech is back, the king, wanting to make him. Needless to say, God is working through Isaac just like he said. And Isaac, in response to this, he's like, let's do this. Absolutely. Lays out a gangster of a feast. They eat, they drink. Hey, let's do this. So then early the next morning, they do the oath thing, basically signing treaties that are bound by oath. Then they close up business. Abimelech, his guys, they part. They leave, but they don't part as king and rich guy, but they part as friends. They built that. And then later, towards the end of the day, Isaac's servants, just getting cool stuff. Make some new friends. Now Isaac's servants come to him. Guess what? They found water. They were digging. They found water. Just like his dad. So he gives this well a new name called Sheba. Means oath. And that becomes what ends up ultimately becoming a city called. There you go. So the very end of chapter 26 ends with a small bit of outside context, but it's specific to Esau. It says when he was 40, he married Judith, daughter of Beeri, that Basemath, daughter of Elon, and then or sorry, he marries two women. He marries Judith, and then he marries Basemath. Both were Hittites. Apparently, they turned out to be thorns on the sides of Isaac and Rebecca. Needless to say, trouble with the in-laws goes all the way back to Rebecca. But either way. So next up, we're going to see what happens when parents play favorites, and Jacob's going to cosplay. So please leave a comment if you like how the story is going, and let me know what your favorite part is. This is the Gravel Gospel. I'm Bionic. Appreciate you.